Episode 56 YQB October 6, 2024. The threat of heat pump rebates being clawed back. In Episode 56 YQB 1 United States 2 California 3 Colorado 4 Idaho 5 Illinois 6 Iowa 7 Maine 8 Massachusetts 9 Minnesota 10 Nebraska 11 New England 12 New Jersey 13 North Carolina 14 North Dakota 15 Oregon 16 South Dakota 17 Vermont 18 Washington 19 West Virginia 20 Wisconsin 21 Canada 22 United Kingdom 23 India 24 Malaysia 25 Philippines 26 Asia 27 PM 2.5 and Human Health. Main content. United States. RAWSEP View. Could the heat pump rebate scheduled to roll out across the United States starting in fall 2024 be clawed back? Probably not. And why would anyone want to claw back heat pump rebates that incentivize clean alternatives to air-polluting home heating by antiquated methods like wood burning? But the word conservative in politics is often roughly analogous to the word reactionary in politics. The conservative right reacts to replacement of wood indoor residential burning along with fossil fuel burning for home heating as an assault of corporate profits rather than as positively building a network of clean alternatives for home heating and contributing incrementally to slowing climate change and most importantly for residents against wood smoke emission particulates, protecting the health of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners whose wood smoke enters the near neighbors' yards and sickens the near neighbors. In Episode 56 YQ the examples of beliefs in the United States that might enable clawing back clean alternatives for home heating are expanded on first in 1A an article about the United States history of reacting to public health and weather emergencies so slowly that lives were unnecessarily lost. One United States Public Health Services stumbled out the gate when COVID-19 hit in early 2020 when they did not forecast to the American public that COVID-19 was a threat early in the pandemic. Public Health Services could have emphasized what they did know about how to respond to an airborne threat and did not immediately advise the general public to wear masks. The reason for this lag in helpful communication was to prevent panic. Looking back, it would be better to Public Health Services to provide as much clarity as possible from the very beginning. How does this relate to the threat of heat pump rebates being clawed back? The Inflation Reduction Act was passed years ago, and measures like heat pump rebates are only now in 2024 being rolled out. The need for an alternative to air-polluting home heating methods was not clearly communicated out of the gate. It seems that the clarifying incident that caused people to clearly see that wood burning in the form of wildfire smoke that affected most of the United States by June 2023 was the catalyst for Public Health Services to finally advise that people exposed to high levels of wood smoke stay in their sealed homes with multiple air purifiers running. COVID-19 clear advice that could have saved more lives if implemented earlier was to wear masks. Indoor residential wood burning smoke and the identical wood burning smoke of wildfires clear advice in June 2023 that could have saved more lives if implemented earlier was to stay inside sealed homes with multiple air purifiers running. Secondly, 1B the Environmental Protection Agency EPA in late September responded to an August 2023 lawsuit from 10 assistant attorney generals asking the EPA to act to improve the new source performance standards for indoor residential wood stoves, which the EPA was required to do every 5 years. The EPA kicked the can down the road to 2027. This was foreshadowed in the spring of 2023 even before the lawsuit began when the EPA responded to complaints on delay by stating that no changes could be made before 2027. The EPA was true to their word and dragged their feet as promised. Is there another way to deal with the predictable air pollution of indoor residential wood burning? Residents against wood smoke emission particulates suggested in letters to the 10 assistant attorney generals and to Doctor Jeanne Marrazzo, who succeeded Doctor Anthony Fauci, that a parallel track to solve the problem of air pollution caused by indoor residential wood burners be implemented, similar to the parallel track Doctor Anthony Fauci implemented in 1989. In 1989, Dr. Fauci followed the parallel track of offering AZT, the anti-AIDS drug allowed for clinical trials, which had the unfortunate side effect of causing blindness, along with ganciclovir, which cured the side effect of blindness, although ganciclovir was not officially approved by the FDA to be used in the AZT clinical trials until parallel track was approved by the FDA at the insistence of Dr. Fauci. Similarly, if the EPA is mired in a failed program of wood stove certification until 2027 that allows highly polluting wood stoves to continue to be approved as safe until 2027, then this will have the unfortunate side effect of adverse health effects and early deaths for near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. In 2024, Dr. Marrazzo could follow the parallel track of not interfering with the EPA certification of highly polluting indoor residential wood burners as safe, although there is no scientific reason for this flawed program to continue, and also allow some federal government agency like the Department of Health to allow shutdown of indoor residential wood burning stoves whose PM 2.5 emissions are proven to enter the yards of near neighbors and sicken the near neighbors. Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the houses of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners could prove that PM 2.5 emissions above World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually entered the near neighbors' yards, and this evidence could be the standard of shutting down indoor residential wood burning one wood burning stove at a time if necessary. Thirdly, 1C the clawing back of heat pump rebates by reactionaries. Those not busy being born are busy dying. Residents against wood smoke emission particulates if getting a little impatient about the rollout of heat pump rebates. There are many stories being written about the benefits and the future use of heat pump rebates, but it hasn't happened yet. There are reactionaries waiting in the wings hoping that the November 5th election will vault them in majorities in the House and or Senate and vault Republicans into the presidency and vice presidency. It could happen, and then the reactionary clawback of heat pump rebates could begin, which would dampen the hopes of residents against wood smoke emission particulates for the perfect carrot to offer to indoor residential wood burners who claim they are indigent. This is a cautionary prediction that if the elections are not won on several different levels, we might end up further from breathing clean air and living on a more slowly warming planet. Maybe contemplating this will make us work harder to ensure that the future is as bright as we hope it will be. 1A United States. New York Times. Want people to embrace public health? Make it more like weather forecasting. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization. October 2nd, 2024. The author of this New York Times article is an epidemiologist. In 1925, a tornado cut a track hundreds of miles long flattening schools and houses across 3 Midwestern states. At points, the storm was nearly a mile wide and appeared to observers not as a thin funnel, but as a wall of angry clouds. Nearly 700 people lost their lives, making it the deadliest tornado in U.S. history. The tragedy was compounded by an astounding error of human judgment. At the time, it was taboo for weather scientists to forecast tornadoes in public communication. Experts feared that such a warning would cause unnecessary disruption or panic if the tornado didn't materialize. Residents in the path of the tornado were caught by surprise. The justifications for this prohibition may sound familiar to those who remember the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, when senior health officials repeatedly assured that risk to the American public was low. One skeptic of the weather community's duty to warn of tornadoes argued that the stoppage of business and the unnecessary fright would be worse than the storms themselves. A desire to prevent panic predominated, as it too often does in the case of outbreaks. Public health officials can learn from how the weather community corrected these mistakes. Today, a prohibition on storm warnings would be unthinkable. Public health communications often take a different approach, choosing conservatism over a duty to warn. Some public health experts fear crying wolf when it comes to uncertain threats. This is a mistake. Deciding whether, when, and how to communicate about public health risks is tricky. Outbreaks are fast-moving, complex, and difficult to predict. The rise of misinformation and eroding trust in public health makes effective messaging even harder. No communication plan will be above reproach. Still, this is a unique moment in history to shift public health's approach to communication. Historically, one point of departure between weather and public health was personal experience. Most Floridians have lived through a hurricane, and most Nebraskans know tornadoes. But until the COVID-19 pandemic, few Americans had experienced a disease outbreak so widespread and severe. That has now changed, and more people are tuning in. The public health community must capitalize on this new awareness by embracing the public as partners in health preparedness and response. Just as the weather community evolved to prioritize messaging, so too should public health. The job of public health experts is to give people clear guidance about what they will face and how they can protect themselves. That does not include a special mandate to prevent panic or stigma. When doing so sacrifices clarity. The impulse to conceal tough truths is a mistake. 3. The clawing back of heat pump rebates by reactionaries. 1B United States. Deal gives EPA more time to rework with stove regs. E&E News by Political Company RAWSEP View. E&E News is an American news organization that covers energy, environmental policy, climate change, markets, and science. As of 2020, the organization has more than 65 reporters and editors across 10 cities. It was acquired by Politico in December 2020. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Wood-fired heating appliances, forced air furnaces, and hydronic heaters. The newly signed consent decree gives EPA until December 2027 to make any changes to the existing new source performance standards for new wood stove models, followed by a December 2028 deadline for revisiting the portion of the regulations dealing with 2 other types of wood-fired heating appliances, forced air. EPA will get another 3 years to belatedly complete a makeover of its troubled emission standards program for new wood stoves under a lawsuit settlement made final this week. The newly signed consent decree gives EPA until December 2027 to make any changes to the existing new source performance standards for new wood stove models, followed by a December 2028 deadline for revisiting the portion of the regulations dealing with 2 other types of wood-fired heating appliances, forced air furnaces, and hydronic heaters. Millions of people rely on those devices to keep homes warm. Their homey image notwithstanding, wood stoves are a major source of the fine particles often dubbed soot. Inhalation is tied to an array of respiratory and cardiovascular ills, as well as higher odds of early death. 1C United States. Washington, D.C. Inside Climate News. Climate activists are calling out incumbents' poor environmental records in a coordinated drive to flip the House to Democratic control. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. October 5, 2024. The Republican congressman for New York's increasingly flood-prone Lower Hudson Valley and Finger Lakes region tells his constituents that urgent action is needed on climate change. In California's Sierra Nevada, scarred by recent wildfires unprecedented in recorded history, the Republican representative pitches himself as one of the state's biggest champions of clean energy. But the 2 freshman Republicans have voted reliably with the House GOP majority to undo efforts to cut greenhouse gas pollution and accelerate the transition to renewable power and electric vehicles. And they are strong supporters of former President Donald Trump, who has endorsed both candidates and promised to deliver a fatal blow to existing climate policy if reelected. The 2 representatives are among a group of GOP members whom environmental advocates are targeting as they work to flip the House of Representatives back to Democratic control. The activists view the congressional races and electing Vice President Kamala Harris to the presidency as equally crucial for preserving and extending the historic climate progress made during President Joe Biden's term. They have set their sights on Republicans who were narrowly elected in 2022 and face tough re-election battles in swing or Democratic-leaning districts this November. Voicing concern over climate change is one way vulnerable GOP members have broken from their party's mainstream to appeal to voters across the political spectrum, especially in districts that have been battered by extreme weather and fire. Environmental groups are working in the districts to deliver the message that these Republican members' actions belie their words on climate change. They're addressing it now because their constituents are asking them about it and are feeling the pain of the results of man-made climate change. They're paying lip service to dealing with the everyday impacts of climate change, while not actually addressing the root cause of it in a meaningful way. Environmental activists believe Democratic control of the House at least would serve as a firewall to protect much of the climate progress that has been made under Biden, if in what they see as a worst-case scenario Trump wins and Republicans capture control of the Senate. Nearly all Republican House incumbents have voted multiple times to repeal the clean energy provisions of Biden's landmark climate legislation, the Inflation Reduction Act. We're now seeing some Republicans saying let's take a scalpel to the IRA repeal and trying to greenwash themselves even though they've voted multiple times to repeal these tax credits, said the vice president for political affairs for the League of Conservation Voters. Oil and gas industry spending on the 2024 election has already hit a record $147 million, with 89% going to Republicans. The lopsided giving is mirrored in the polarization over climate policy in Congress and a GOP-led House that is trying to undo the progress of the past 4 years, environmental activists say. That's why they're working to put the House back in Democratic hands in November. The National Resources Defense Council NRDC Action Fund haven't seen a Republican candidate who has the environmental stances that the NRDC Action Fund would want to see. 1D United States. How will the presidential election impact HVAC tax incentives? ICHR News. Heat pump. A heat pump water heater or a biomass stove. Taxpayers are eligible for a credit for every year in which qualified improvements are. 1E United States. Citizens Guide to Initiative 2066 to repeal laws and regulations that discourage natural gas. Washington Policy Center. Heat pump space heating and another $1,500 for a heat pump water heater. After the rules were modified, no new economic analysis was completed. 1F United States. The government wants to pay you $2,500 to upgrade your home wiring the cool down. Rebate of up to, for instance, average consumers can slash over $500 annually with a modern electric heat pump used for heating and cooling. 1G United States. North America Commercial Air to Water Heat Pump Company Market Share Analysis 2023. Global Market Insights. The North America commercial air to water heat pump market size exceeded $438 million in 2023 and is projected to witness more than 17.9% CAGR. 1H United States. Copeland to launch Vilter industrial single skid heat pump to help customers accelerate the CRnews.com. Copeland is launching the Vilter VQ95 industrial heat pump to help customers reduce their carbon footprints. This heat pump is a single stage heat. 2 California Pomona. Opinion. Pomona's fire response left students unprotected. Here's what needs to change. The student life. As is typical of wildfire smoke, 90% of the smoke was made up of particulate matter less than 2.5 micrometers PM, 2.5 an agent known to have. 3A Colorado. For optimal winter efficiency, prep your furnace now. Boulder Daily Camera. Rebates are available for this system among other furnace and heat pump rebate qualifying selections and professionals at Northern Colorado Air. 3B Colorado. Stage I fire restrictions in place for El Paso County as of Friday. KKTV. Wood burning stoves. For A Idaho. Proposed burning rules leave crowd steaming. The Lewiston Tribune. Burning control ordinance. Round 2 of the battle drew a crowd of 35. The big 3 contributors to the problem are potlatch car emissions and wood burning leaves. That was one comment that the big 3 contributors to the problem are potlatch car emissions and wood smoke. Wogsland said. Idaho. Valley air alert lifted but problem isn't going away. The Lewiston Tribune. Sandpoint has similar problems that are made worse by the large number of wood burning stoves there. But wood smoke is of major concern because the Air Quality Bureau maintains continuously. 4B Idaho. Changes in air quality standards may affect Shoshone County. Shoshone News Press. Particulate matter PM 2.5 and PM 10 in the air: ozone, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, carbon monoxide, and lead. PM 2.5 or fine particulate matter. Coeur d'Alene Press. Particulate matter PM in the air: ozone, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, carbon monoxide, and lead. PM 2.5 or fine particulate matter are the 5. Illinois Mount Vernon. IntelliHot's Electron is a tankless heat pump water heater for commercial buildings. Clean Technica. Such developments have made heat pump technology appealing as the status quo for water heating in the near future. Looking cool in my costume outside. 6A Iowa. Countywide burn ban declared. Sentinel NWestIowa.com. Iowa State Fire Marshal Dan Wood has issued burning bans in 25 counties including Plymouth, Lyons, Sioux, and Osceola counties in northwest Iowa. 6B Iowa. Burn ban in effect for Sioux County. Sioux County Sheriff Dan Wood State Fire Marshal. Iowa Code Section 100.40. 100.40 Marshal may prohibit open burning on request. The State Fire Marshal during periods. 7A Maine. Maine's heat pump program for mobile and manufactured homes still requires removal of the main wire heating systems in order to be eligible for whole home heat pump rebates. A new program designed to aid mobile homeowners with heat pump adoption. 7B Maine. Governor Mills announces Maine's largest yearly drop in heating oil reliance since at least 2010. Maine.gov heat pumps for affordable heating and cooling. While Maine is still heat pump owner, it is a very different way of both heating and an additional $36 million to launch another IRA-funded heat pump rebate program is anticipated in Maine. Mills credits heat pump program for declining oil heat use. 7C Maine Public. The percentage of Maine homes burning heating oil has steadily declined since the governor made heat pump adoption a cornerstone of her climate. 8A Massachusetts. Massachusetts regulator orders National Grid to set lower winter rate for heat pumps. Canary Media. Heat pumps are a major element of Massachusetts' strategy for going carbon neutral by 2050. However, high electricity prices and historically low. 8B Massachusetts. News Flash Heat Pump Forum. Don't be spooked by Heat Pump Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. Join us for an informative and fun forum where we'll be debunking myths and telling the truth about heat pumps. Don't let the unknown scare. 8C Massachusetts Boston. This company can deliver massive rebates on new solar panels. We have saved the cool down. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization. Think of it as the Expedia of solar panels and other clean energy products such as heat pumps. After you answer a few basic questions about your home, over 1 in 5 people looking to go solar in the United States visit EnergySage.com at least once before their installation. We have saved homeowners over $100 million by helping them spend 20% less than the national average on home energy projects, Hadlow said. 9A Minnesota. USFS restricts campfire use within. BWCA modifies wood lake fire closure area. The Ely Echo. In addition to the campfire restriction effect, the Forest Service is reinstating the wood lake fire closure restrictions to close wood good hula. 9B Minnesota. Why consumers aren't buying heat pumps. Dan's Papers. Heat pumps: 440,000 residential heat pump water heaters, 2,000 school heat pumps, and 20,000 large heat pump compressors each year. 10A Nebraska. Lincoln City announces second round of heat pump incentives. Lincoln.any. Gov Mayor Leary Gaylor today announced the launch of the second phase of the city's heat pump incentive following the success of the pilot. 10B Nebraska Lincoln. Striving to reduce carbon footprint, Lincoln expands heat pump program. CLIN. Heat pump incentive program. The program launched in January supplied 329 Lincoln homeowners with heat pumps which are shown to help homeowners. 11 New England. Good news for climate efforts. New funding for electric buses and clean energy in New England. WGBH. Heat pumps are a key tool in the clean energy transition, reducing household carbon emissions by 36% to 64% compared to traditional heating systems. 12 New Jersey. New Jersey commits to decarbonize buildings and increase heat pump installations by 2030. New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection (NJ.gov) on September 21, 2024. New Jersey, in partnership with other states, pledged to collectively reach 20 million heat pump installations across the 13A. North Carolina. A forgotten valley in storm hit North Carolina, desperate for help. France 24. Wood-burning stoves. We're devastated. Not far away past the jumbled mass of tangled tree limbs and rocks that Helene left strewn across her. 13B. North Carolina. Help in time of uncertainty. HVAC company reaches out to flood victims. Contracting business. Recent. Various brands. Heat pumps, HVAC heat pumps, hype or hero. October. Dandelion Energy launches world's most efficient geothermal heat pump. 14 North Dakota. Mine it. Counties that have enacted emergency burn restrictions. KX News. Counties that have enacted emergency burn restrictions. Local news / 3 minutes ago. Fire. Wood fire. Bonfire on a beach in a fire pit. Hot burning. 15 Oregon. Less than 1% of Oregon households will benefit from rebates for energy-saving appliances. Ashland Daily Tidings. This includes up to $8,000 for heat pumps providing heating, air conditioning, and hot water. The rebates can cover 100% of project costs, including 16 South Dakota. Family who lost home in Minot fire starts GoFundMe. KX News. To read our full story on the fire, go to Minot Fire Department. Contains structure fire in Wheatland Village. Wood fire. Bonfire on a beach in A17 Vermont. Public Utility Commission says Vermont should pivot from clean heat standard proposal. Vermont Public. Examples of things that might earn credits include replacing a propane hot water heater with an electric one or installing a heat pump. Lawmakers. 18A Washington. Wildfire sparks overnight east of Bellevue. Idaho Mountain Express. The Martin Fire is burning about 2.5 miles east of Bellevue, less than Wood River Fire and Rescue reported around 3 a.m. That conditions. 18B Washington Thurston County. Here's why you might see smoke in South Thurston County on Wednesday. MSN. The public may see smoke rising near Little Rock on Wednesday due to a prescribed burn in the area. 9 reasons you should avoid a wood burning. 19 West Virginia Senate race 2024. Inside climate news. In West Virginia, the Senate race outcome may shift limits of U.S. climate ambitions. The departure of Senator Joe Manchin appears to end the second leading coal-producing state's decades at the fulcrum of federal energy policy. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization. June 22, 2024. For decades, West Virginia has elected senators who have played an oversized role in United States energy policy, backing fossil fuels and resisting robust action on climate change. The West Virginia Senate race could radically change West Virginia's role as the state limiting the ambitions of national climate policy. The nation's number 2 coal state could elect a full-throated fossil fuel-boosting senator in November. In fact, coal operator and businessman Jim Justice, the current Republican governor and an acolyte of former President Donald Trump, is running more than 30 points ahead in the latest June 2024 polls. Justice 73 would just add to what is now essentially the unanimous pro-fossil fuel bloc of Republicans in Congress. His Democratic opponent Glenn Elliott, 52, an attorney and mayor of Wheeling, sits firmly in the mainstream of his party on climate change. Elliott argues that warming is bringing dangerous weather extremes like torrential downpours to West Virginia, and that an energy transition away from fossil fuels is inevitable. The 2024 Senate race also ends West Virginia's long reign at the fulcrum of that policy, with the balance in the Senate often tipped by Manchin over his 14 years in Washington, and for more than 50 years prior by his predecessor, the late Senator Robert Byrd. In a speech 2 years ago, Justice downplayed renewable wind and solar power and stated oil, gas, and coal are the meat and potatoes of climate change. Justice said, "I don't know if it's for real or not." In backing coal, he went on to play the religion card while ignoring the economic reality of coal, losing its competitive edge to natural gas and renewable energy. For his part, Mayor Elliott said in an interview that the market itself is going to steer us away from a fossil fuel-based energy production model, and we need to be doing something to prepare for that reality instead of just doubling down on the way we've done things. In 1997, then West Virginia Senator Byrd, by then former Senate Majority Leader, reached across the aisle to join with Nebraska Republican Senator Chuck Hagel to author and secure a unanimous resolution opposing the United Nations climate agreement known as the Kyoto Protocol, effectively blocking U.S. ratification of the treaty. Another significant Byrd moment came 10 years later when the Senate was debating what eventually became the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007. The Democrats had full control of Congress for the first time since 1993, with the Senate essentially evenly split as it is today. It was the Democrats' big chance to address climate change. The legislation that President George H.W. Bush ultimately signed improved fuel economy and supported biofuels and energy efficiency. But mainly because of Byrd and other Democratic moderates at the time, the Senate jettisoned the House-passed effort to establish a national renewable energy portfolio standard like those that were becoming popular at the state level. The proposal was for 15% of U.S. power to come from clean energy. While the Inflation Reduction Act invests $370 billion in fighting climate change, more federal dollars than any other federal action, West Virginia Senator Manchin made sure the legislation included items that bolstered the fossil fuel industry, such as a requirement that the U.S. government offer millions of acres of federal land for new oil and gas leasing over the next decade. Some environmental critics decried the fossil fuel support, with one calling the compromise climate suicide. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice spoke next to President Donald Trump at a campaign rally in Huntington, West Virginia on August 3, 2017. Justice earned the endorsement of the West Virginia Manufacturers Association in part because of the governor's views on energy production. Formerly on the Forbes billionaire list, Justice inherited a fortune in coal interest from his father, and his family's companies have faced and continue to confront a staggering trail of lawsuits, debt, and environmental health and safety fines. Justice is right at the forefront of those who wink and nod at mine safety and environmental regulation. Justice's opponent, Mayor Elliott, said his campaign intends to show how Justice hasn't had to play by the same rules as everyone else. Elliott is a Wheeling native, has degrees from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business and Georgetown University's Law School. He's been mayor of the state's third largest city since 2016. Democrat Elliott touts women's health issues and reproductive choice. Regarding energy, Elliott said he recognizes the role that West Virginia coal has played in the economy of the state and nation, but coal has also come at great cost. It's killed a lot of miners either directly in the mines, or it has sickened miners after the fact. It's damaged a lot of communities. Elliott said that it's important for West Virginia's senator to advocate that if we're going to be moving away from these fossil fuels that we've always relied on, West Virginia needs to make sure we get made whole in that equation. We can't be just left behind. 20 Wisconsin, Madison. The House always wins. What is a heat pump? Madison Word FM. Great question. Heat pumps are becoming more and more popular and are an excellent option for heating and cooling your home and saving electricity. The House always wins. What is a heat pump? Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization. January 11, 2024. The House always wins. Word 89.9 FM, Madison. The House always wins. What is a heat pump? What is a heat pump? Great question. Heat pumps are becoming more and more popular and are an excellent option for heating and cooling your home and saving electricity and money. Join Phase Change Physics aficionados Ali and John as they look into heat pumps for your home. 21A, Canada, British Columbia. Letters. Use common sense. Subsidize heat pumps. Coast Reporter. The Clean BC Better Homes Energy Savings Program will reimburse homeowners up to $16,000 for heat pumps, but they have to be installed all at once. 21B, Canada, British Columbia, Kelowna. 100 wood piles to be burned in Lake Country this month. Kelowna News. Castanet. Wood pile burning will be taking place this fall in Lake Country. The BC Wildfire Service says it is working with the District of Lake Country on 21C, Canada, British Columbia, Kelowna. Smoke will be visible from upcoming burn project in Lake Country. Kelowna Now. Crews will soon begin the planned burn of around 100 wood piles in Lake Country. A release from the BC Wildfire Service BCWS explains that. 21D, Canada, British Columbia, Vernon. Local nonprofit plans to make hundreds of Vernon homes more energy efficient. Vernon Matters. Electric heat pumps and water tank solar panels. Local nonprofit that support will be provided outside of the province's rebate programs. The Home Zero Collective said it wants to build off its past success of switching 11 Vernon homes to electric heat pump and hot water tanks and installing solar panels to generate their own energy by retrofitting 500 homes in the same way over the next 3 years. 22A, United Kingdom. Warning over log burners as rules could land people with criminal records. Manchester Evening News. Wood-burning stoves are a charming addition to any room, providing warmth during the cold winter months, as many people look to cut their bills. Under UK regulations, all newly manufactured wood-burning stoves, multi-fuel stoves, and fireplaces must meet stringent new guidelines known as. These new regulations were introduced to reduce the pollution caused by wood particulate matter air pollution. 22B, United Kingdom Peak District. Smoke alert for Granton and surrounding areas. New Norfolk News. Wood heaters, wood fires, and bushfires. See more Derwent Valley and Central Highlands News online and read our print edition every second Friday. 22C, United Kingdom. Households in England with a chimney face, £300 fines in September. MSN, burning traditional fuels like coal or using wood burners fitted into the chimney. Regrettably under new rules concerning smoke control areas. 22D, United Kingdom. Brewer to cut emissions by making beer using a heat pump in UK, first The Guardian. The new heating system will recycle the waste vapor from the brewing process, which is normally vented into the air, by using the heat pump to raise. 22E, United Kingdom, London. Pollution Watch. Dangers of adding rubbish to home fires. Air pollution. The Guardian. Mintes and her team set about investigating what home waste burning meant for air pollution. A typical home wood burner was installed. 22F, United Kingdom, Bristol. Warning over log burners as 2024 rules could land users with fine or criminal record. Bristol Live. Wood-burning stoves are a popular choice for people looking to save on their heating bills. 22G, United Kingdom. Warning issued to households using log burners as new rule could hit you with £300 fine. Yahoo News UK. As part of efforts to reduce air pollution, government regulations restrict the amount of smoke that can be emitted from wood-burning stoves and smoke. 22H, United Kingdom. Wood-burning stove rules 2024 this winter that could lead to £1,000 fine if broken. Yahoo News UK. Wood-burning stoves are an increasingly popular choice for heating the home as the weather turns colder, but there are key rules owners must. 22I, United Kingdom. Warning to anyone with a log burner, 2024 rules could land users with huge fine. The Mirror. A raft of rules now in place restrict what type of wood burners people can buy and what fuel you can burn. 22J, United Kingdom. Dunelm £79, fake, wood-burning stove, without hassle of real logs this winter. The Mirror. The UK furniture retailer may have the perfect low-effort solution for keeping homes warm during the colder months. It's garnered an impressive 22K, United Kingdom. Warning issued to households using log burners as new rule could hit you with £300 fine. Yahoo News UK. As part of efforts to reduce air pollution, government regulations restrict the amount of smoke that can be emitted from wood-burning stoves and smoke. 22L, United Kingdom. Warning to anyone with a log burner, 2024 rules could land users with huge fine. The Mirror. Burning biomass wood, especially wet wood, is a source of pollutants that can rise to £300 if your chimney releases smoke in a smoke control area. 22M, United Kingdom, Somerset. Wood-burning stove rules 2024 this winter that could lead to £1,000 fine if broken. Somerset Live. Wood-burning stoves are an increasingly popular choice for heating the home as the weather turns colder, but there are key rules owners must. 22N, United Kingdom, Gloucestershire. Warning over log burners as 2024 rules could land users with fine. Gloucestershire Live. Wood-burning stoves are a popular choice for people looking to save on their heating bills. 23A India. India Monthly Ambient Air Quality Snapshot. September 2024. Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air. NCAP cities. The monthly average PM 2.5 levels in 79 NCAP cities out of 96 cities with more than 80% of days with data surpassed the WHO's daily. 23B India. Study quantifies benefit in air quality from fixing potholes clearing garbage in Delhi. The Hindu. Because weather and wind alleviate air pollution, the measurements estimated the difference in PM 2.5 following these interventions over and above. 24 Malaysia. PHNIX presents advanced heat pump technology at Chilvinta 2024 highlighting the Malaysian Reserve. The Chilvinta Expo, a premier event for HVAC refrigeration and heat pump technologies, draws professionals and industry leaders from all corners of 25 Philippines. Smoky Kalins, pose health hazard to RP's harried housewives. Herald Express. Baguio Herald Express, revamped homepage, 2024. With the use of a simple tool, commonly known as Kalin, they stoop over it, often blowing at the burning wood to keep the fire steady as it smoke. 26 Asia. Top 10 most polluted countries of Asia in 2024 current affairs. Added 247. PM 2.5 level. 1. Bangladesh 161 μg/m superscript 3. 2. India 84 μg/m superscript 3. 3. Pakistan 79 particulate matter, PM tiny particles in the air that come from 27 APM 2.5 and chemical concentrations. Rapid response of stream dissolved phosphorus concentrations to wildfire smoke nature. Averaged hourly PM 2.5 time series data collected from 3 local purple air sensors. Figure 1 a reported similar timing and relative magnitude of peaks. 27 BPM 2.5 in deadliness. Wildfire smoke deadlier than other pollution. Medscape. Wildfire-related air pollution causes higher mortality rates than non-wildfire PM 2.5 in Europe. Experts debate if prescribed fires reduce the 27 CPM 2.5 and disability. Prolonged exposure to air pollution tied to disability in seniors. Medscape. Long-term exposure to air pollution, particularly particulate matter between 2.5 and 10 micrometers in diameter PM 102.5, is associated with a higher 27 dPM 2.5 in stroke. Air pollution, even at low levels, linked to higher ischemic stroke risk in some groups. EALIO. They also observed more pronounced effects of exposure to PM 2.5 NO2 and BAPI among individuals younger than 65 years and women.